The UK government has shot down Nicola Sturgeon's plan for a Scottish visa as part of its Brexit-related overhaul of the UK's immigration system. Within hours of the First Minister publishing a detailed policy paper on the idea, the Home Office dismissed it, bluntly declaring that immigration will remain a reserved matter. The UK government said different rules around the UK would massively complicate the system, although there might be regional variations in salary thresholds for UK visas. The swift and brutal rejection, just days before Ms Sturgeon is due to set out her next steps on a second independence referendum, suggests Boris Johnson is in no mood to give further powers to Holyrood in the current climate. Earlier, Ms Sturgeon had warned a blanket refusal would reinforce the perception that the Westminster was incapable of accommodating distinctive interest. The SNP said the UK government needed to do much better than a curt dismissal, and it was only highlighting that Westminster doesn't work for Scotland. It followed the Scottish government issuing a 94-page paper proposing a tailor-made Scottish visa to help cope with an end to freedom of movement after Brexit. Scotland is wholly reliant on inward migration for population growth, and there are fears that if EU migration plunges after Brexit, Scotland's population could stagnate or even shrink. The First Minister said more immigration was needed north of the border to maintain the tax base which pays for public services. She proposed the part devolution of immigration to Holyrood to attract migrants through a cheaper, simpler visa based on Scottish residency and the Scottish tax code. It would be an additional option alongside all other UK visas, but less bureaucratic, with no employer sponsorship role or fees, no skills charges, and no salary threshold. It would also offer a pathway to permanent settlement in Scotland and potentially the UK. The Scottish Government would set the criteria for visas and recommend applicants. The Home Office would then security vet the applicants' migrants and ultimately grant leave to enter the UK on condition they live in Scotland. She said the Scottish visa numbers might or might not be capped, but much would depend of dialogue with the UK government. She wanted to be as open and flexible in talks with Whitehall as possible, she said. She also said that, although designed for devolution, the new system could be readily adapted for an independent Scotland. Ms Sturgeon said, "The hard reality is this: without continued inward migration in the years ahead, there's a real risk that Scotland's working-age population will fall. The end of free movement will, in my view, harm the whole of the UK, but it will be uniquely harmful for Scotland. It's likely to weaken you." For more on this story, visit the news article link.